I'm a fake heiress. I knew it long ago, until the day they found the real heiress. The whole family lined up to comfort me. I quickly packed my bags. Sitting in the moving truck, I waved to everyone still in chaos at the mansion. Hey, what's there that I can't accept? God knows, I've been waiting for this day for a long time. At 2 p.m., the sun was shining brightly in H City. I was sitting at my workstation, feeling drowsy, besides being filled with various green plants. There was also a small fish tank on the desk. There are 3 small goldfish and a little flower turtle kept inside. I don't seem to be here to work, but rather to enjoy life. The phone ringing startled me, and I hastily wiped the drool from the corner of my mouth. With bleary eyes, I swiped to answer the call. Miss, there's something that requires you to come home. It was Grandpa Bob, the family butler. Oh, all right. I grabbed my phone and vanished from my workstation in an instant. As soon as I entered the house, I habitually shouted, "The little fairy is home." After shouting, I noticed the atmosphere was a bit different. Mom and Dad were sitting on the large sofa in the middle, while my eldest brother and second brother were sitting on the single sofas on either side. Everyone's expressions were terribly grim. Triangles have sharpness. No, triangles have stability. The butler stood nearby, his face filled with worry, his eyes slightly red. I was startled. Has the family gone bankrupt? My parents gave me a reproachful look. Then I thought again. It shouldn't be. James's family is the undisputed richest in the area. Could it be? Just thinking about that possibility, I could barely hold back the smile forming on my lips. Mom pulled me to sit down and began to speak. Blair, we just found out you're not our child. As expected, I was secretly delighted inside, but I tried hard not to laugh out loud. Dad looked at my contorted face and also seemed troubled. I can understand your sadness, but you are also the precious one we have watched grow up and held in our hands. Don't worry, this will always be your home. No, I'm not sad. Mom held my hand. Blair, I know it's hard for you to accept right now. No, I can handle it, but Wendy is all alone in the countryside. We can't just leave her there. I nodded in agreement. All right, I'll move out. Eldest brother Jasper James immediately objected. The James family isn't short of food for you. Just stay at home peacefully. If she dares to bully you, I'll throw her out. Second brother Sam James chimed in. That's right, you're the sister we watched grow up. In my heart, I only acknowledge you as my sister. I remained silent, just packing my luggage under everyone's astonished gazes. I am a fake heiress. As a transmigrated cannon fodder fake heiress and a hard-working laborer, I had known the plot from the very beginning. I was just waiting for the real heiress to return and kickstart the main storyline. What I didn't expect was that even after transmigrating into a wealthy heiress, I still couldn't escape the fate of being a working-class drone. Isn't it just about smiling, shopping, and buying whatever I want? Additionally, damn it, no one told me before I transmigrated into this book that the rules of a wealthy family are so damn many. The schedule is packed from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. The learning content covers etiquette, academics, arts, sports, leadership, economic management, mastering at least 8 languages, financial management, and so on. You're either working or on your way to study. I've had enough of studying. 30 minutes later, the moving company I called arrived. It was the kind of super large truck I wanted. The driver and a few moving uncles got out of the truck, came upstairs, and quickly started moving things according to my instructions. I'm not that noble. I haven't left behind a single thing in this house that belongs to me. I even took the bed. Mom and Dad, when Wendy comes back, remember to buy her a more comfortable bed. Oh, wait, it's better to get her a bigger room. I've lived in this one, so it's no longer worthy of her. I don't know what's wrong with those fake rich girls in the novels. When the real rich girl returns, they still stupidly go up to get slapped in the face. They insist on competing for affection with the real daughter's own parents. In the end, they get taken down by the real rich girl. It's all about seeking suffering where there is none. I'm not stupid. The life of a workhorse has already drained all my energy, leaving me with not a single ounce of strength left for palace intrigue. Cherish your life. Stay away from the main plot, and strive to survive until the end. I walked around the villa to see if I had missed anything. My older brother followed behind. Are you really moving out? Second brother followed closely. After all these years, do you really have no feelings for us? Mom wiped her tears and leaned into Dad's embrace. Can you please not leave? Mom really loves you, I know, and that's exactly why I have to go. I sighed. If I don't leave, what will your biological daughter think when she returns? I've enjoyed a life of luxury in her place for so many years, while she suffered outside. Now that she's finally coming home, she'd have to watch her own family fussing over me, the one who took her place. I imagine that must be hard for her to bear. The eldest brother frowned. We've already taken her back. What more does she want? Besides, you're innocent too, I explained. Eldest brother, I am the beneficiary in this mistaken life. Although it wasn't my fault, I have indeed enjoyed a life of privilege for so long. The least innocent person here is me. I can't have it both ways. Dad and second brother were about to say something, but I raised my hand to stop them. I've made up my mind, and no one can talk me out of it. What a joke. My lifelong dream is to return to the countryside, farm a couple of acres of land, watch the sunrise in the morning and the sunset in the evening, and spend my remaining years with a cup of tea and a little wine. My previous life as a workhorse has already extinguished my fighting spirit. This time, no one can stop me from going to the countryside to lie flat. The driver dropped me off in Sea City, 1,000 miles away. By the time all my belongings were unloaded and arranged, it was already dark. Looking at the mess all over the room, I asked the driver to take me to my small apartment in Sea City. I bought this place a year ago, right after I transmigrated here, as a book transmigrator. Since I already know the plot in advance, of course I need to prepare ahead of time. As for why I didn't follow the plot and come to retrieve the real young lady earlier, it's not that I didn't try, I just couldn't find her. I have no idea what she's been up to. Every time I came during the holidays, I never once ran into her. I'm already familiar with her village. I don't even know how many eyes or mouths she has. I took a hot shower and put on my bold dragon pattern pajama set. Lying in bed, I counted my remaining balance. Although the James family has strict household rules, they never skimp on the children's allowance, but it's not as exaggerated as in TV dramas, where allowances can easily reach hundreds of thousands. In the James family, each child receives a monthly allowance of 50,000, but for someone like me, who actually works for a living, this is equivalent to 6 months of my previous life's salary. The original owner used to spend money like water and never saved any. The money in the card was saved by me after I came here. When I left, my adoptive parents and their family wanted to give me cards and transfer money, and I didn't pretend to refuse. I accepted it all. Joke's on them. I just didn't want to get involved in the wealthy family drama from the original plot. Not that I don't like money. With more savings, my laid-back life becomes even more enjoyable. All the savings add up to over $1 million. This balance is nothing to look at in the wealthy circles like James's family. It's not even enough to cover the cost of a single gathering for the young masters and misses. But in our circle of hard workers, I can be considered quite a little rich lady. 20 minutes later, I held a soda in my left hand and chopsticks in my right, eating the spicy hot pot I had just ordered. TSK, this little life is truly carefree and full of flavor. I woke up feeling refreshed and clear-headed. As long as I don't have to go to work, I feel so much more energetic. I went out of the apartment in my pajamas and slippers and headed to the breakfast shop downstairs. Then I splurged on a deluxe version of Luosafen. I've been craving this taste for so long. The landlady greeted me warmly. Little sister, good morning. I responded with equal warmth. Good morning, beautiful sister. Only mornings without work are good. The shop owner grinned, showing her pearly white teeth, and gave me a few extra slices of beef. The moment the Luosafen entered my mouth, I let out a satisfied sigh. Who would have thought? This heavenly delicacy. I haven't had a single bite since coming to Jane's house a year ago. After breakfast, I went to the nearby wholesale market again and spent the whole morning comparing prices and shopping. I bought several sets of outfits from head to toe. I also made sure to go to the supermarket to stock up on daily necessities and mosquito repellent supplies. The countryside is great in every way, except there are too many mosquitoes and insects. Get a bottle of every mosquito repellent product. There's always one that mosquitoes will love. After buying everything, I slowly made my way back, carrying my purchases like a little snail. After changing my clothes, I looked at the 29.9 pure cotton t-shirt and the 19.9 wide leg pants I was wearing and sighed at how good I was at living frugally. I shake my pants, feeling the wind blow through the legs. Comfortable as can be, those expensive clothes and shoes aren't suitable for farming. I sorted them all out and listed them at a discounted price. Since I rarely have the chance to wear them anymore, I might as well give them to someone in need and earn a little extra money. Although the money in my card is enough for me to live a simple life in the countryside. Who would say no to more money? I don't like working, but I do love money. I went downstairs and had another hot pot meal at the hot pot restaurant. Fatty beef, tripe, duck intestine, spicy beef, hot pot meatballs. I devoured a whole bowl in one go and finally experienced the satisfaction of eating tripe like noodles. It made me cry and have a runny nose. James's family meals are carefully managed and paired by a dedicated nutritionist. Don't even talk about eating hot pot, if I can even smell it. I'll consider it a loss. An hour later, I patted my full stomach and recalled the plot of the original book. This is a melodramatic novel titled A Mistaken Love in a Wealthy Family. The real heiress returns. In the original book, after the real heiress Wendy Collins returned, the fake heiress Blair James completely lost her composure. She caused all sorts of trouble, refusing to let go, using every despicable means to compete with the real heiress for her parents' affection. Vied for her brother's favoritism, and after being abandoned by her original fiancé, she went after Wendy Collins' man. She successfully turned everyone who once had affection for her into enemies. In the end, she was abandoned by all, her reputation in ruins, and driven out of the family, because of the huge debt and provoking the lapdog No. 2 of the real heiress, commonly known as the male supporting character. She died in a dark alley. Her body was not discovered until several days later. Nowadays, novels have no logic when it comes to tormenting cannon fodder characters. They are evil just for the sake of being evil. There is no law to speak of. Blair James has hands and feet and grew up in a loving family. So how could she turn out so twisted later on? Why must one flower bloom alone? Can't 100 flowers bloom together? However, I chose to stay away from the main characters and return to the countryside to live a laid-back life, although the villa is nice. There are too many rules in a wealthy family. It's not as carefree and comfortable as the countryside. In the afternoon, I bought a ticket to H City. I left in a hurry yesterday and didn't take the turtle and the fish with me. They've been with me for a year, and I promised them we'd share the good times and they'd take the fall when things got tough. I took out my phone, and the WeChat messages had already reached 99 plus. Many red envelope notifications. I collected all the red envelopes before scrolling through the chat history. Apart from the care from James's family, I also received sarcastic remarks from my fake friends. What's even more absurd is that there were also offers of being a kept woman from some rich second-generation heirs. My heart was calm as I silently noted down their names. Then I sent the long list to my eldest brother. There's no need to cooperate with the families on this list, although I am about to leave. The James family has been very good to me during the year I've been here. I can't let these rotten people bask in the James family's glory and live a carefree life either. Okay, the other party replied quickly, immediately following up with a picture and a caption. Your treasures have been brought home. When are you coming back? I took a look and realized that my older brother had moved my turtles, fish, and the plants from my workstation back home. I took a photo of the plane ticket and sent it to my eldest brother. Soon, the family group chat, named Loving Family, exploded with messages. Eldest brother, she flight is in the afternoon. I have a meeting and can't get away. Who's free to pick her up? Second brother, is our little sister coming back? That's great. I'll cancel this announcement and go pick her up. Handsome dad, I'll go pick up. Beautiful mom, I want to go pick up too. I watched as the original number, 5, changed to 6. I clicked to check, and the additional member had a starry sky as their profile picture. Her name is also simple, just C. So this sister I've never met before is so unique, so cool. As expected of the female lead, the country doesn't protect trash. No need to pick me up, I'll just take a taxi. I had just sent the message when another one followed immediately. See, I have time too. 2 minutes passed, and no one said anything. I could feel the awkwardness in the air. At that moment, I was so embarrassed I could have dug a 3-bedroom apartment with my toes. As soon as I walked into the terminal after getting off the plane, I spotted a few extremely conspicuous people not far away. Standing next to the familiar faces was a tall, stunning beauty. The James family has excellent genes. Each and every one of them is good-looking. As for me, neither my appearance nor my intelligence resembles that of their children. Although I'm not ugly either, I'm far from being on the same level as the James family. When I first transmigrated here, there were subtle hints that I might not be their biological child. As for why I couldn't say it directly, I don't know either, because I simply couldn't utter those words. Perhaps the original author of the book was playing tricks. In the end, they brought out a photo of my great-grandfather, said with a serious expression. You might have inherited traits from your great-grandfather. Staring at the photo, my silence was deafening. At my first meeting with the real heiress, I felt guilt but no shame. This farce is not my fault, nor is it my parents' fault. They have been honest and hardworking their whole lives, diligently farming the land. In their middle age, they were blessed with a child and deliberately chose the best hospital in the city for the delivery. Little did they know that James's mother, who happened to be traveling out of town, gave birth on the same day at the same hospital. As a result, the babies were secretly switched by a rival of the James family. Although Wendy Collins did not have particularly abundant material conditions, she was still carefully nurtured with the greatest efforts of my parents, because Wendy Collins brought them to H City for medical treatment. They encountered my adoptive parents who were going for a checkup, which led to the subsequent events. My adoptive father looked at me with concern and said, "Blair, are you tired? Dad bought you the little cake you love to eat. Calling you Dad now doesn't seem quite right, but calling you Uncle feels a bit hurtful." I took the cake. "Thank you, James." Dad. James's father's smile froze, his eyes looking hurt. James's mother turned her face away directly, secretly wiping her tears. James's father introduced somewhat awkwardly, "Blair, this is your sister Wendy. Your second brother couldn't come down and is waiting for you in the car." Then he said to Wendy Collins, "Wendy, this is your sister, Blair." I don't know what came over me, but the words slipped out. I'm still the younger sister." All three of them were taken aback. I immediately zipped my mouth shut. Wendy Collins glanced at me indifferently. "According to the birth certificate, I was born a few minutes earlier than you. So you are indeed the younger sister." I looked at the beautiful older sister who was half a head taller than me. "Sister it is. She's so tall. I'm not at a disadvantage either. Want to get close. But her aura is too strong. I'm too scared. I don't dare." Before dinner, I went into Jane's house again. The butler, Grandpa Bob, was very happy to see me and quickly arranged for Lucy to prepare dinner. "Mrs. back. Wonderful, Lucy. Serve the dishes." Then came Lucy's cheerful, laughing voice. "All right, coming right up." James's mother even took me to my old room. Opening the door, I saw that it had been redecorated again. The decor is exactly the same as before, even the small mirror on the dressing table is the same model. James's mother looked at me with anticipation in her eyes. "I've redecorated it for you again. This will always be your home." My heart was a whirlpool of mixed emotions. James's mother, afraid that I might misunderstand, quickly explained, "You don't need to worry about your sister. After all, she is my biological daughter. How could I not love her? A room has been prepared for her too, the one on the third floor with the garden. It's decorated according to her preferences, and honestly, it's even bigger than your room." Perhaps afraid that I wouldn't believe it, she took me to the third floor to see it. Spacious, simple, with curtains and bedding all in cool tones. It really suits her aloof personality. This, however, makes it hard for me to bring up what I want to say next. Besides bringing the turtles back this time, I also plan to transfer my household registration. Since I've decided to move out, there's no point in occupying a spot without contributing. Better to deal with it now, so I won't regret it later. Can anyone relate? The life of a wealthy person is right in front of me, yet I can't enjoy it. Crying and whining. Seeing that I didn't speak, James's mother frowned deeply. "Blair, are you still determined to move out?" I suppressed the myriad of emotions in my heart and said calmly, "I am no longer a daughter of the James family. After much thought, I believe I should transfer my household registration out. You should also transfer my sister's registration back as soon as possible." "Mrs. James trembled her lips, sobbing uncontrollably. I held her, whispering softly, "I'm sorry, I didn't want to either." The last few words were very, very soft. "It's not that I don't know what's good for me. There's a voice in my head always reminding me to stay away from the main storyline. Otherwise, as a minor character created by the author, I could never outsmart the author. To survive, I must start my own main storyline. Otherwise, I'll still end up dead." I didn't believe it at first either, until I started having the idea to actively seek out Wendy Collins. And then I kept running into bad luck. At best, I'd catch a cold or get sick, and at worst, I'd get into a car accident when I went out. I always feel like the author is toying with me. The main idea is not to write you to death. Sigh, I'm just tormenting you for fun. But now the protagonist has returned, and the plot has begun. As a cannon fodder character, I'm bound to face 100 different ways to die. Seeing that I was determined, my adoptive father made a decision with a grim expression. "Uncle Bob, go with her tomorrow." My second brother exploded in anger. "Dad, no." My eldest brother suddenly returned at this moment, slamming the door shut with a loud bang. "I disagree. He then turned his gaze to Wendy Collins, who was sitting calmly on the sofa. Was it you who drove Blair away? What has Blair done wrong? She grew up in this house since she was a child. This is her home. Wendy Collins frowned slightly. I suddenly felt something was wrong. And before she could speak, I dropped to my knees with a thud in front of my eldest brother. Brother, please spare me. The world is so big, but I don't want to go out and explore. I just want to go back to the village and lie flat. I'm really not cut out for a wealthy family. My sleep schedule is a mess. My willpower is weak, and I'm not the brightest. I always felt something was off. But it wasn't until my sister appeared that I finally found the answer. Dad is an entrepreneur. Mom is a physicist. Big brother runs the family business, and second brother is a big star. You're all so outstanding. It shouldn't be that I'm the only little failure, so it makes the most sense for my sister, who is an aerospace researcher, to stay here. Besides, I haven't had milk tea in 2 days, and I feel like I'm not as sweet anymore. Wendy Collins frowned. How did you know about my job? Oops. I got too excited and accidentally revealed the plot. My eldest brother looked at me with a mix of disappointment and frustration, pulling me up from the ground. Don't you know you shouldn't eat just anything outside with your sensitive stomach? My second brother was puzzled. If you want to lie flat, just lie flat. With our eldest brother around, we don't need to manage the company anyway. Besides, didn't you ask to work at the company yourself? Don't talk nonsense. That wasn't me. With 2 such outstanding older brothers above her. The original owner had been desperately trying to keep up. I'd love to just lie flat here too, but my life is on the line. Besides, there's no milk tea shop here, no spicy hot pot, and not even luocefen. As soon as second brother finished speaking, first brother was even more speechless and even kicked him. Is this your reason for dumping the company on me and running off to act? If you don't act well, just wait to come back and inherit the company. The next day, the procedures went very smoothly, and I changed my name from Blair James to Blair Collins, and Wendy Collins was successfully registered in the James family's household register. Changing her name from Wendy Collins to Wendy James, I held the household register, looking at the name in the household head column, feeling a bit emotional. A separate household register, with me as the head, with a proper name and surname. Who says this doesn't count as starting my own main storyline? After lunch, I hailed a ride going my way, packed the green plants into the car, held my turtles and fish, and said goodbye to everyone. If nothing unexpected happens, this will be the last time we see each other. The James family didn't want to watch me leave, so they didn't see me out. Wendy James walked me to the door, looked at me, her gaze searching. You don't hate me. I shook my head. Why would I hate you? This was always your life to begin with. She looked at me for a long time without speaking. I waved my hand and got into the car. The car door was blocked by a pale hand. Blair, I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. I tried my best, but I couldn't let you meet. This was the first time she called me by my name, and the first time she said so much to me. I sniffled and smiled. It's okay, sister, you've already done a great job. You've taken good care of Mom and Dad. If it were me, I might not have been able to do it. Their bodies wouldn't have held on for this long if she had ever given up. She looked at me, suddenly smiled, then waved her hand without saying a word. When I returned to Sea City again, I went to the apartment to pack my things, then pushed my suitcase and took a taxi back to the countryside. The apartment isn't too far from the countryside. It's just about a 10-minute taxi ride. After all, back then, in order to keep an eye on Wendy Collins. Oh, no, it's Wendy James now. I specifically bought a house in the town closest to the countryside, carrying my luggage. I was already quite familiar with the way. Oh, isn't this little James, here to see friends again? It was Aunt Judy, who was picking vegetables in the garden, wearing a straw hat and waving at me with a smile. Hey, Aunt Judy, it's me, please call me Collins now. What's going on? Why the change of last name? Uncle John, who was standing not far away, also looked up at me. Hey, just so you know, uncles and aunties, I'm actually the biological daughter of the Collins family. I've switched places with my sister now, so please take care of me from now on. Along the way, we ran into quite a few neighbors. While they were warm and friendly, they couldn't help but be curious. I responded to each of them with a bright smile and a cheerful tone. Before I transmigrated into this book, I wasn't an orphan, but my life was hardly any better than one. My parents went out to work, taking my younger brother with them, and I stayed with various relatives in turn. Thick-skinned and good at reading people's expressions, I've long been a social daredevil, so I don't feel particularly ashamed about being switched at birth or going from a wealthy heiress to a country girl. I believe a couple who could raise someone as outstanding and morally upright as Wendy James must be good people themselves. I arrived at the Collins courtyard with ease, as if I had been there many times before. The house wasn't luxurious, just a simple, ordinary farmhouse courtyard. But it was clear that the house had been newly renovated at some point. The yard was also clean, with a few plots of land by the entrance. They were all planted with seasonal vegetables, and one plot was filled with what looked like messy weeds but intuitively didn't seem to be weeds. The furniture inside the house was covered with dust covers, tidy and clean, just waiting for the owner to return. It's just that its two original owners are lying on the mountain. Every item in the house is neatly arranged. Wendy, they must have loved this home very much. After putting down my things, I went to my parents' new graves and kowtowed. I don't really understand these rules, but I wanted to come see them. I had to come see them. After chatting with them for a while, I went back. I took out the gifts I had bought in advance from the supermarket from my suitcase. There aren't many neighboring households nearby, only 6 in total. Any farther ones would require a long walk. So I didn't prepare any gifts for them. I went door to door with the gifts, chatted for a while, and before I knew it, it was already evening. Aunt Judy lives right next door to me, and she warmly invited me over for dinner. Thinking that I had just returned and didn't want to cook separately, I didn't decline. After dinner, I walked home under the moonlight, accompanied by the chorus of frogs, the croaking of frogs, the chirping of crickets, and occasionally, the laughter from next door. It's very noisy, the kind of sound you wouldn't hear at Jane's villa, but my heart is incredibly peaceful. Indeed, I'm just the kind of person who can't appreciate the finer things in life. The next day, I went to the flower market in town. To be honest, even though it's the countryside, they still have everything you need. I bought 2 large Pierre de Ronsard roses and a few Blue Rain varieties. I don't know if the flowers will bloom perfectly, but I just want them to bloom. After buying all the flowers I wanted, I hired a few more workers. Now that we have the yard, shouldn't we build a fish pond? Sitting on a 3-wheeled cart, loaded with a full cart of flowers, plants, and trees, chugging along, we headed home. On both sides of the entrance to the yard, 2 Pierre de Ronsard roses should be planted. Once the climbing vines bloom, they will be absolutely stunning. After working hard for several days with a few masters, the yard finally looks the way I wanted it. After entering the yard gate, there is a pavilion on the left with a swing chair inside and a small square table in the middle. A passion fruit plant is planted beside the pavilion, just waiting for the vines to cover the entire structure. On the left, there is a rockery and a pond with a few fish swimming in it. They aren't koi, but they aren't ordinary fish either. Their scales shimmer with color in the sunlight, though I can't name the species. The master said these fish are hardy and won't die even if left to fend for themselves like this. A few pots of water lilies are also placed in the water. Beside the pond, a Michelia alba tree was planted, and it was currently the flowering season. The tree was covered with buds, blooming and emitting a rich fragrance. I had originally planned to pull out that patch of grass that wasn't really grass, but I was afraid it might have been planted by Wendy James. After a few busy days, I finally had some free time. Sitting on the swing chair, I fell asleep while swaying back and forth. When I woke up, night had already fallen. Awake, whoop bang, the sudden voice startled me, causing me to tumble to the ground. It was a solid fall, grimacing. I looked up and saw a tall figure standing at the entrance of the pavilion, illuminated by the faint glow of the newly installed solar ground lights in the courtyard. The moonlight outlined her cool, elegant silhouette. Wendy James, Wendy James. I rubbed the sore spot where I had fallen. What are you doing here? And how did she get in? I clearly locked the courtyard gate. Tomorrow, change the lock. Wendy James took a few steps closer, bent down, and reached out her hand to me. I hesitated for a moment, then took her hand and stood up. Just came to see you, she spoke concisely, her gaze sweeping over the newly arranged rockery pond, climbing roses, and passion fruit in my yard. You certainly know how to enjoy life, just getting by. Is the plot god up to his tricks again? What happened to staying away from the main storyline? Why is the female lead personally getting involved? Have you eaten? She asked. Not yet. I was so busy tidying up the yard that I forgot about dinner. She nodded and took out an exquisite paper box. It was the same small cake that James's father had bought last time. My eyes lit up. For me, looking at that familiar logo, I felt a mix of emotions. Why does this plot development carry a hint of ambiguous warmth? Something's off. It's not just a little off, it's completely off. Thank you. I took the cake and decided to stick to my usual approach. Have you eaten? How about? I make some noodles. Okay. She walked straight into the house. Hey, I was just being polite. Are we that close? 10 minutes later, we were sitting at the small square table in the pavilion, slurping 2 steaming bowls of luocefen, the deluxe version from my stash. If it weren't for Wendy James coming, I wouldn't even be willing to eat it myself. What shocked me was how effortlessly she handled the noodles, adding chili oil even more generously than I did. Completely lacking the restraint one would expect from a high-level researcher. This isn't right. The book described Wendy James as having a cool and aloof personality, with strict dietary habits and a preference for light, healthy food. After finishing this bowl of luocefen, your image has completely collapsed, sis. A bold guess began to form in my mind. After finishing the noodles, she took the initiative to clear the bowls and chopsticks. Moving with practiced ease and not a hint of unfamiliarity, we sat side by side on the swing chair, gazing at the stars in the night sky. The starry sky in the countryside was exceptionally clear, the Milky Way resembling a glowing ribbon of light. Blair, she suddenly spoke, her voice cutting through the quiet of the night with remarkable clarity. You've truly embraced a leisurely life, watching the sunrise in the morning and the sunset in the evening. Spending your remaining years with light tea and a little wine. My heart skipped a beat. I had only ever thought this to myself and shared it with my readers. How could she know, unless... She turned her head and looked at me. I'm shocked, she continued, and what's more, that little flower turtle in the fish tank on your desk. You privately call it the little bastard because it's always trying to escape. I suddenly sprang up from the swing, pointing at her with a trembling finger. You. Could it be that you're also... She nodded calmly. That's right, I'm a transmigrator, and I've been here 10 years longer than you. The amount of information was too much. My CPU almost burned out. Wendy James had transmigrated into this book 10 years ago. She was originally an agricultural science Ph.D. from the 21st century. After dying from overwork, she became the true heiress, Wendy Collins. In the book, she knew her own background and the plot, but she was also bound by the rules. Unable to reveal the truth in advance or change the fate of her adoptive parents, she studied hard and made a name for herself in this world through knowledge, entering the field of aerospace with a research focus on plant growth in extreme environments. I've been secretly observing the James family, and, observing you too, she said. I've known about all the changes in you since you arrived. I've seen how desperately you've been saving money and how often you've been coming to the village to stake out the place, so you've been avoiding me every single time. A bit annoyed. No, the rules don't allow us to recognize each other in advance, otherwise we would encounter various accidents, just like when you tried to find me before. I suddenly understood. So, you're coming to me now because the main storyline has started, and the constraints of the rules have weakened. You could say that, she nodded. One more thing, I've noticed that the logical loopholes in this small world of the book are more than we imagined. The author set up many unreasonable aspects for the sake of plot conflict. For example, you and I, as transmigrators, our memories and consciousness are the biggest variables in themselves, so, we don't necessarily have to follow the original plot. I became excited. At the very least, we can try. She looked at me. You chose to leave the James family and return to the countryside to farm. That in itself is the biggest disruption of the original plot, and I don't want to follow the script and act out some bitter, vengeful drama of reclaiming everything. The James family, they're actually not bad. Aside from being a bit too indulgent with their children. She paused, then added, of course, I'm referring to you. My face flushed red. Looking at this true heiress sister in front of me, who radiated an aura of confidence and, like me, had transmigrated into this story, I felt like meeting a fellow villager in a foreign land. I tightly grasped her hand. Sis, from today on, you are my real sister. I may not be good at aerospace research, but I'm the best at cheering and shouting. 666, and so, my laid-back life in the countryside welcomed a heavyweight partner and supervisor. Wendy James was on vacation at the time. She called the James family to let them know she was safe and told them she would be staying in the countryside to spend more time with me. The James family was delighted with the arrangement, but I didn't expect their straightforwardness to result in the entire family crowding into my newly set-up courtyard the next day. My eldest brother handed me a small cake. Are there enough rooms in the house? I was taken aback for a moment. Didn't I lock the door? Tomorrow, change the lock, big brother. Second brother, Mom, Dad, why are you here? The group carried several large suitcases and entered the house with ease. Where do we stay? There aren't many rooms. Mom and Dad live in the main room. My eldest brother and second brother share one room, and my sister and I share another. The rumbling sound of the suitcase soon started again and quickly faded away. The sudden visit of the James family left me a bit confused. I quickly took out my phone and sent a message to Wendy James. The eldest brother scanned the inside and outside with a curious gaze. It's a bit small, and the furniture isn't great, but it's wonderful with Blair here. The second brother sat on the swing outside. Blair, you really know how to enjoy yourself. We've never seen you sit on the swing at James' house. There's no tea at home, so I poured 2 cups of warm water for James' parents. Mom, Dad, what brings you here? James' father. Our precious daughter wants to go back to her hometown and live a laid-back life. What can we as parents do about it? James chimed in. Just spoil her, of course. Big brother James sat on the sofa, unable to stretch his legs straight. Blair, we'll be living here from now on. I looked at James's parents. James's mother was holding his father's arm, smiling and nodding. Yes, Blair. Are you happy? Are you surprised? I'm super happy. The characters from the plot I tried so hard to escape are all desperately clinging to me. Should I be happy about this? I hope that one of the key figures in the plot, that rotten peach blossom, just rots away somewhere far from me. It's true what they say, don't even think about someone, or they might just show up like someone. The next day, I was squatting in the field, setting up stakes for the tomatoes. The tomatoes were growing so well that without the stakes, the fruit would weigh the plants down. A luxury car pulled up at the gate of my yard. A young man in an expensive suit stepped out of the car. He was handsome. The custom-made suit looked exceptionally stylish on him, complemented by his height of 1.9 meters and a pair of long legs. I squinted for a long time before finally pulling this person out of the original host's vague memories. The young master of the Green family. Kevin Green, the original Blair James's fiancé. He is indeed handsome. No wonder so many delicate flowers are captivated by him. Oh ho, the plot may be late, but it's here. Is he here to cause trouble for the fake heiress, or to express his deep affection? Kevin Green saw my country girl appearance. His eyes flashed with shock, heartache, and a kind of, you really have been suffering here, inexplicable emotion. He strode over quickly, his tone carrying reproach. Blair, you're really here. How could you degrade yourself like this? Come back with me. Spit it out if you have something to say. I couldn't be bothered to deal with him. How have you become so rude? How can you be the wife of the Gu family like this? I took a step back, surprised. You're not in love with me, are you? We've had a marriage arrangement since we were young. You're barely presentable, and you don't meddle in others' affairs. You're the most suitable for the position of the Green family's young madam. Kevin Green's frown never eased. You've been chasing after me for so long, and now you're playing the country girl in this rural area. What will others think of me? Come back with me, quickly, go back to your banana-worshipping uncle. The original owner was a love-struck fool who liked handsome guys, but I don't. The only true love of my life is the man printed on the RMB, Big Brother. I've become a country girl now. We're not a good match in terms of social status. If your family wants to arrange a marriage alliance, just find someone else. I don't even like being a wealthy lady. Kevin Green took out his phone. What do you like? Jewelry, accessories, bags, clothes, or money? I can satisfy you with anything. My eyes lit up. That sounds great. I enjoy collecting items. Can you help me gather everything related to the man on the RMB? Kevin Green shouted. Blair James, are you crazy about money? Before I could even curse, Wendy James stood up and blocked my way. Mr. Green, please leave. Kevin Green was taken aback when he saw Wendy James. His eyes flickered with a complex emotion for a moment, but quickly refocused on me. This is between Blair and me. Blair, I know you're angry. Angry that I didn't firmly oppose the annulment of our engagement back then. But that was family pressure. You've always been the only one in my heart. Look at you now, living in a place like this, doing all this rough work. It breaks my heart. Don't you like me? Come back with me. Let's get married. You can be a wealthy lady, sipping tea and shopping. Wouldn't that be better? A huge dark cloud smelling of big promises is drifting over. If I didn't know he had 3 or 4 girlfriends on the side, I might have actually believed him. I pushed Wendy James aside, stepped forward, put my hands on my hips, and said, I like you, huh? Do I like how you flirt everywhere and never settle down? Or do I like how you not only talk with your mouth but also with your ass? Hurry up and wipe it so you don't stink up the place. Did you flush your brain down the toilet when you went? Or did you mistake pesticide for cola during one of your episodes? Don't use the principle of protecting animals as an excuse to bark at me like a dog. You think I like you? A loach dipped in water really thinks it's seafood. Who do you think you are? A toad jumping off a cliff really thinks it's Batman. God sprinkled common sense all over the world, and you were the only one holding an umbrella. I spit on you. I must have been blind to have liked you back then. Just thinking about the memories I have with you makes me feel disgusted. Get lost. Get the hell away from me. Kevin Green's face turned red with anger. How dare you insult me? I said righteously. Forget about scolding you. If you want, I can even carve it on your tombstone. No, I don't believe it. You've liked me since we were kids. You're just saying that out of anger. Kevin Green tried to grab my hand excitedly, but Wendy James slapped it away. Kevin Green, Blair, you must still be blaming me. Is it because of her that you refuse to come back? Don't worry, my parents have already promised me that as long as you return, our engagement can continue as before. She won't affect your status. I was almost driven to laughter by his logic. Kevin Green. I took a deep breath. Listen carefully. Who the hell do you think you are? Still talking about the marriage arrangement as if nothing happened. You put on a show of deep affection while playing around behind the scenes. The Oscars owe you a little gold statue. Get the hell away from me. As far as you can. I grabbed the tomato stand from the ground and swung it at him. Get lost, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. Is that your motto? You'd sleep with anyone, if I see you again. I won't have the patience to listen to your nonsense. I'll slap you right across the face. Kevin Green's face turned pale. He was hopping around trying to dodge my hits, then scrambled into his car. Before the door was even closed, he yelled at the driver to get going, watching the car disappear into the distance. I breathed a sigh of relief. It really felt so much better to let it all out. Wendy James gave me a thumbs up. You're fierce. I waved my hand dismissively. No big deal. Life returned to its peaceful state. My idyllic research life with Wendy James is getting better and better. Using her professional knowledge, she not only ensured a bountiful harvest of the crops in the yard but also tried to introduce some modern planting techniques to the local area. She taught nearby farmers how to use more scientific organic fertilizers and pest control methods, which were well received by Aunt Judy and the others. I fully utilized my social butterfly skills and started doing live streams, responsible for selling the village's vegetables, fruits, as well as dried flowers and sachets made by Wendy James online. The villagers' lives are gradually improving. My own life is also becoming more enjoyable. When James's father and mother are not busy, they come to stay with us for a few days to experience the rural scenery. The brothers also come whenever they have free time, on a very ordinary day a year later. James's parents and brothers all came. We sat in the pavilion, sharing a bottle of plum wine I had brewed myself. The evening glow dyed half the sky red, and the yellow orchids in the yard exuded a delicate fragrance. A barbecue grill was set up in the yard, and James's parents sat in the pavilion, watching us with loving eyes. The eldest brother sat in front of the barbecue grill, grilling meat for us. The second brother sat on the swing, holding a guitar and singing as he played. Laughter and joy filled the air, creating a warm and harmonious atmosphere. Sis, it's been a year. Do you think we've successfully opened up a new storyline? I asked, swirling my wine glass. Wendy James gazed at the sunset glow on the horizon, a smile playing at the corners of her lips. Why wouldn't it count? At the very least, we've avoided the originally planned bad ending. The road ahead is still long, but the initiative is now in our own hands. Yes, I sighed with emotion. No need to learn 8 languages, no etiquette classes, no rushing to early morning classes, number 996 or 007 work schedules, just waking up naturally every day, gardening, growing vegetables, and enjoying hot pot. Now this is what I call living. I glanced at the joyful family under the pavilion. Sis, if this is the kind of life we can have, I'd be willing to stay here forever. Wendy James raised her glass. Me too. We exchanged a smile and clinked our glasses. The starlight grew brighter, and the frogs began to chirp again. In this little world we had built with our own hands, whether it's the real heiress or the fake one, the brand new story that belongs to me and my family has only just begun. Extra story, Wendy James, Wendy Collins. but in the end, perhaps I am just a stranger who spent 10 years shuttling between the lab and the experimental fields, only to unexpectedly stumble into a story. 10 years ago. After pulling my third all-nighter in a row processing a set of crop drought-resistant gene data, my heart stopped. When I opened my eyes again, I had become a high school student, the daughter of a simple, warm-eyed yet sorrowful peasant couple. I realized I had transmigrated into a book, and I had gotten the script of the true heiress returning for revenge. Ridiculous. As an agricultural PhD, my lifelong ideal is to make the land yield more food and reduce hunger. Who has the time to get involved in some wealthy family drama? Mr. and Mrs. Collins are wonderful people. They are kind, resilient, and poured all their love into me. Although our family was poor, they never let me go without food or clothing, and they fully supported all my dreams. I tried to change the future of this family. I wanted to cure my parents' illnesses, using the knowledge from my previous life. I found ways to accumulate money, took them to the best hospitals, and used the best medicines, but in the end, it was still too late. They passed away without ever getting to see their biological daughter. I know the James family in H City, my biological family. I've been secretly watching them, and also watching the girl who took my place, Blair James. Initial investigations showed that she was a typical, spoiled rich girl, willful, vain, and chasing after glamour. I don't have much resentment, just a sense of sorrow, but about a year ago, things started to deviate. Blair James seemed to have changed. She no longer enjoyed parties, started going to and from work on time, though it seemed like she was just going through the motions, still saving money like crazy. She even came to the village where I was born multiple times for tourism. Once might be a coincidence, but twice or 3 times is definitely not accidental. She always asks about the Collins family. At first, I suspected she might have found out something and came to cause trouble, but upon observation, her behavior carried a sense of strangeness, urgency, and confusion, not malice. It was more like she was searching for something, yet being blocked by an invisible hand. What puzzled me even more was the change in her demeanor. In the occasional candid photos, the girl's eyes no longer held a hollow arrogance, but instead carried the weariness of a working person and a longing for freedom, and a sense of alienation, similar to mine, that didn't quite fit into this world. A bold conjecture formed in my mind. Perhaps she was just like me. This discovery made my heart race. If she is also a transmigrator, then the original plot has the biggest variable. She's desperately saving money and frequently coming to the village. Does she want to find me in advance to change something, or does she also want to escape? I suppressed the urge to recognize her, because I could feel an invisible rule binding me. Whenever I had the thought of actively going to see her, I would always encounter various obstacles, urgent research tasks, sudden meetings, and even inexplicable malfunctions of transportation. I understood that this was the author's power, maintaining the original plotline. I could only wait, advancing my career while protecting my parents and keeping an eye on the developments in H City. Later, the plot finally fell into place, and the script of the true and false heiresses began to unfold. That day, my adoptive mother's old illness flared up again. I took them to the best hospital in H City for a checkup and happened to run into James's family, who were there for a medical examination. The pull of blood ties is so strong that James's mother noticed me almost at first glance. Or rather, she noticed the resemblance of my facial features to hers. The truth came to light faster than anyone could have imagined. DNA testing, family recognition, and I was taken back to the James family, faced with the James family's excitement, their desire to compensate, and their heartache over my past experiences. I remained very calm. What I cared about was Blair James's reaction. Her performance completely confirmed my suspicion. There was no jealousy, no resentment, only a sense of relief that it's finally here, and an excitement to run away as soon as possible. She quickly packed her bags. When she knelt and begged my eldest brother to let her go, saying she just wanted to return to the village and live a simple life, and even blurted out my profession, I almost laughed out loud. It's her, definitely my hometown friend. After she left, the atmosphere in the James family became gloomy. As I listened to them repeatedly talk about her good qualities and worry about her suffering in the countryside, I felt a strange sensation. This fake heiress, in her own way, won the hearts of this family. I decided to go find her. On one hand, the plot had already begun, and the binding force seemed to be weakening. On the other hand, I was genuinely curious about this sister, who was also a fellow wanderer in this world. When I saw her meticulously maintained, wild and charming little courtyard. I was somewhat surprised, yet it felt entirely fitting. Those who yearn to watch the sunrise in the morning and the sunset in the evening must have a longing for tranquility in their hearts. But the very next day, I was proven wrong. It wasn't about being leisurely. She was just plain lazy. Lying flat truly means wanting to rest by lying down. To calm the resentment of the working class, the James family, as a wealthy household, did not act like a troublemaker in a brainless novel. Unable to distinguish right from wrong, they truly loved Blair Collins. Oh no, it was more like doting. Blair Collins was very timid and would often scream loudly on the ridges of the fields, frightened by insects. It's also easy to be satisfied, to feel elated over a ripe tomato. She is the cannon fodder antagonist in the book, and I am the main character, the wealthy heiress. We are destined to be on opposing sides. But since we have grown flesh and blood and awakened our thoughts, the next chapter of the story should be written by us. Even a minor character can have a name and an identity. Under the starlight, I took a sip of the plum wine she had brewed. Blair Collins added too much sugar again. It was sickeningly sweet. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. After my parents divorced, my daily living expenses became 15 yuan. They couldn't even be bothered to take turns transferring the money. Instead, they would send a 15 yuan red envelope in the group chat at a fixed time, with the note, exclusively for the James family bloodline, first come first served. Every day, I felt like a clown, anxiously waiting to grab my own living expenses. One time, I didn't manage to grab it, and the group chat immediately exploded. Luna, what kind of lousy red envelope did you send? The child didn't even get to grab it. Did you do it on purpose? David, how dare you say that to me? When you bought that precious stepson of yours a 10,000 yuan Lego set, why didn't you think about your own daughter who can't even afford a meal? After they finished arguing, they each privately messaged me, saying, Mom/Dad will always love you. Until that day, when I had a high fever of 39 degrees and begged them in the group chat to take me to the hospital. They spent 3 hours arguing over who would pay the registration fee. Finally, my dad threw out a photo of him taking his stepson to the amusement park. No time, busy building father-son bonds. Not to be outdone, my mom posted a picture of her shopping with her stepdaughter at the mall. I'm busy too, busy buying new clothes for my daughter. I gave up. After my parents divorced, my living expenses turned into a 15 yuan red envelope in a group chat. Note, exclusive for James family bloodline. First come first served. This bizarre note is my dad's masterpiece. He said it adds a sense of ceremony and helps me remember my identity. Every day, I time it with a stopwatch, squatting like a beggar, waiting on the dot. This kind of life went on for 3 months, and I even developed muscle memory. But yesterday, I actually lost focus. By the time I came to my senses, the red envelope had already expired. I stared at the grayed out red envelope on my phone screen, my mind completely blank. Oh no. I'm going to go hungry today. 3 seconds later, the group chat exploded. Luna, what kind of lousy red envelope did you send? My child didn't get it. Did you do it on purpose? David, how dare you say that to me? When you bought that precious stepson of yours a 10,000 yuan Lego set, why didn't you think about your own daughter who can't even afford a meal? I'm spending my own money. What's it to you? Besides, Rose is old enough now. She should learn to be independent. She's only a freshman. Are you even human? They were arguing non-stop in the group chat, sitting in the last row of the classroom, watching the messages pop up incessantly on my phone screen. I suddenly found it all quite amusing. All the other students were paying attention to the lecture, while I was here watching my own parents perform a comedy routine. Rose, are your parents fighting in the group chat again? My roommate Anna leaned over and asked quietly. Yeah, just the usual. I calmly put away my phone. Anna shook her head. If I were you, I would have blocked them long ago. Arguing every day is so annoying. After class, they each sent me private messages. Dad, Rose, Dad will always love you. Don't listen to your mom's nonsense. Mom, sweetie, Mom cares about you the most. Your dad is just a scumbag. I looked at these 2 messages, and my stomach started growling. Love me, care about me. So what am I eating today? I dug out the last pack of nearly expired compressed biscuits from the cabinet, softened them with boiling water, and forced them down. My roommate was eating a delicious takeout meal next to me and asked if I wanted a bite. I smiled and shook my head, saying I'm on a diet. The counselor sent a notice in the class group chat that students from low-income families can apply for work-study positions. I opened the application form and saw that it required a parent's signature for approval. I sent the form to the family group chat, but no one responded. A long time passed, and then my dad sent a screenshot. It was a bill for recharging his stepson's in-game skin, amounting to 1,888 yuan. I stared at that screenshot, my fingers trembling. 1,888 yuan. Enough to cover my meals for 3 months. I could only silently put away the application form. It seems the path of work-study is also blocked. At 11 p.m., my dad sent a message. Rose, don't blame me. I'm not having it easy either. The new family has just been established, and we need to maintain the relationship. You understand. My mom also sent one. Rose, I actually want to help you too, but you know, I have new responsibilities now. You need to learn to understand. Understand. I looked at those 2 messages, and the cookie crumbs in my stomach suddenly surged upward. I covered my mouth and rushed into the bathroom. Leaning over the toilet as I vomited until the world went dark, Anna asked from outside the door, Rose, are you okay? Do you need to go to the infirmary? It's nothing. I rinsed my mouth, my voice hoarse, probably ate something bad. Back in bed, I opened my banking app, balance, 7 yuan. Tomorrow, I'll have to keep grabbing red packets. With my work-study application rejected, I had no choice but to look for odd jobs off campus. I washed dishes in the back kitchen of a restaurant for 10 yuan an hour. The grease and detergent have caused red rashes on my hands. The restaurant owner's wife is a middle-aged woman with a sharp mouth and monkey-like cheeks, who enjoys standing at the back kitchen door to find fault. Little girl, you work like a weak shrimp. Have you never done any chores at home? I didn't respond and continued washing the dishes. She saw that I was ignoring her, and her voice grew even more cutting. Cat got your tongue. Are you used to being treated like royalty at school? The prolonged hunger and exhaustion made me dizzy and lightheaded, even showing symptoms of low blood sugar. Sometimes, if I stood for too long, I would see stars, and I had to lean against the wall to recover for a while. The landlady saw me leaning against the wall and started making sarcastic remarks again. Tired already? You're tired after washing just a few plates. With that physique of yours, you'll collapse every other day. She then deliberately said loudly to the chef, Lee, look at these college students nowadays, each one more delicate than the last. The chef, noticing my pale face, whispered, Boss, let the child rest for a while. She doesn't look well. Rest. She's getting 10 yuan an hour. Does she think she's here to enjoy herself? The boss lady shot the chef a glare, then turned to me and said, If you can't handle it, then don't bother. There are plenty of people waiting in line for this job. I gritted my teeth and continued washing the dishes with my head down. This job is tough, but at least it keeps me alive. But in a moment of carelessness, the plate slipped and shattered. As I tried to avoid it, my hand was cut open, and it wouldn't stop bleeding. When the boss's wife saw the broken pieces on the floor, her face turned absolutely grim. Look at you, so clumsy. She pointed at me, her voice sharp. This is a brand new plate I just bought. It costs 28 yuan each. The chef saw that I was bleeding and wanted to come over to help, but the boss lady glared at him, making him back off. Then, she grumbled and threw a band-aid at me, immediately deducting 50 yuan from my wages for that day. This is the money for the plate, not a single cent less. You were careless yourself. Why should I bear the loss? I looked at the crumpled band-aid in my hand, feeling utterly miserable inside. 50 yuan is enough to feed me for several days. I returned to the main hall, biting one end of the band-aid with my mouth, clumsily trying to bandage myself. Coincidentally, the school's famous rich second-generation Simon happened to pass by with his friends. He stopped and cast a disdainful glance at my bleeding hand. Oh, working so hard. Is the work-study scholarship even enough to cover one of my meals? His friends joined in with laughter. Simon, one meal for you is equivalent to a month's salary for someone else. I ignored him and continued to treat the wound with my head down. After all, in their eyes, I'm just a joke. After they left, I noticed a small bottle of iodine and a pack of clean sterile gauze beside my foot. I froze, looking up in the direction he had left, my heart filled with mixed emotions. When I returned to the dormitory in the evening, my mom posted a photo in the group chat of the new dress she had bought for her stepdaughter, a limited edition from a luxury brand, and it was quite expensive. Rose, have you had enough money to spend lately? She asked casually. I stared at my phone screen. then glanced at my still bleeding wound. Almost as if possessed, I took a photo of my bloodied hand. My thumb hovered over the send button as I imagined her expression upon seeing the photo. Would she feel heartbroken? Would she feel guilty? After hesitating for a long time, I still deleted it and only replied with one word, enough, forget it, she has a new daughter to dote on now. How could she still remember a useless person like me? The next day, as soon as I arrived at work, I was fired. The landlady said someone had given the word, and they don't want someone unlucky like me coming back anymore. Little girl, it's not that I don't want to hire you. It's just, the landlady hesitated, unable to finish her sentence, anyway. You'll have to look for another place. I stood there dazed at the restaurant entrance, feeling like I could cry. Even a job like washing dishes is something people look down on me for. Losing my only source of income, I don't even have money to buy steamed buns. I started going to the library every day to get free hot water to drink. Constantly drinking water gives my stomach some sense of fullness. The library had no heating in the winter, and I was shivering in my thin, old coat. I was flipping through Schopenhauer's The Wisdom of Life, in the philosophy section, curious to see what this great philosopher had to say about poverty, but I was so dizzy from hunger that my legs gave way, and I nearly collapsed, only to be steadied by a firm hand. It was Simon. He frowned at me without saying a word, just helped me to my seat, then turned and left. I thought he had left. But after more than 10 minutes, he came back again. He threw a hot roasted sweet potato and a heating pad onto my desk, his tone still impatient. Don't die here, it's bad luck. I looked at the steaming sweet potato, and tears uncontrollably fell from my eyes. This was the first time I had eaten hot food this month. Just as I was carefully peeling the sweet potato skin, my phone vibrated. A string of messages exploded in the group chat of 3. Dad, Leo came in second in this final exam. A reward of 5,000 yuan in lucky money. Mom, our Sarah won the gold medal in the piano competition, so I bought her an 8,000 yuan diamond necklace as a reward. Dad, that's nothing. I'm planning to sign Leo up for an 18,000 yuan study tour program. Mom, our Sarah's dance training class costs 30,000 yuan a year. Holding this 5 yuan baked sweet potato, I watched their wealth-flaunting battle and suddenly felt like laughing. A stranger gave me warmth. While my biological parents were measuring their love for someone else's child with money, after finishing the sweet potato, I saw an online part-time job posting for data annotation on the library bulletin board. It paid per task and offered flexible hours. My eyes lit up. I could do this. I registered an account using the library computer and started working on tasks like crazy. One piece of data costs 0.1 yuan, so 1,000 pieces would be 100 yuan, eyes fixed on the screen. Afraid of missing any detail, when tired, I wash my face with cold water. When hungry, I take a sip of boiled water and continue. On the first day, I completed 300 pieces of data and earned 30 yuan. I'm so excited my hands are shaking. This is the first money I've earned through my own ability. I bought myself a steaming bowl of beef noodles for 15 yuan, and I still have 15 left to buy breakfast tomorrow. Is that all you aspire to? I turned around and saw Simon standing there at some point. None of your business, I said irritably, but he tossed a USB drive over. There's an automated script in here. You're hopeless. What? It's a script program that can increase efficiency tenfold. He put his hands in his pockets. Of course, if you enjoy doing hard labor, just forget I said anything. I picked up the USB drive and hesitantly asked, why are you helping me? Because I feel sorry for you. He turned to leave but paused. And don't sleep overnight in the library anymore. You could freeze to death. Using Simon's script, my part-time efficiency increased tenfold, and life finally started to look up. However, long-term malnutrition and staying up late eventually took a toll on my health. I developed a fever, with the thermometer reading 39.2 degrees Celsius. My whole body was burning, and I didn't even have the strength to get out of bed. My head was dizzy and heavy, and I could barely hold my phone steady. Anna has class today, so I'm the only one in the dorm. I curled up under the blanket, shivering from the cold, and could only pick up my phone. I sent a message in the group chat of 3. I have a fever, 39 degrees. Can you take me to the hospital? The group chat remained silent for 3 minutes. I stared at the phone screen until my vision started to blur. Finally, Dad replied, it's your mom's turn today. She should pay the registration fee. Mom immediately exploded. David, are you even a man? You don't want to pay child support after the divorce. Besides, it's just a fever. Can't she just drink more hot water? Luna, how dare you say that about me? You've spoiled the child so much that she gets sick all the time. It's all your fault. I'm the one who spoiled her. I sent her red packets every day. What about you? What have you given? Those red packets were from me. You were just the one sending them on my behalf. They argued in the group chat for 3 hours over a few dozen yuan registration fee. The thermometer beeped again. 39.8 degrees. I sent another message. My temperature has risen to 39.8. I'm really feeling terrible. This time, they didn't even bother to reply. 10 minutes later, my dad sent a photo of him and his stepson having fun at an amusement park. No time, busy building father-son bonds. Not to be outdone, my mom posted a picture of her and her stepdaughter shopping at a luxury store. I'm busy too, shopping for new clothes for my daughter. I look at these two happy photos, then at the 15 yuan red envelope I snatch every day on time, and suddenly feel it's all so absurd. They have money to buy thousands of yuan worth of things for someone else's child, but they can't spare a few dozen yuan for my medical registration fee. I throw my phone aside and close my eyes. Forget it, let it be. Maybe if I die from this fever, it would be a good thing for them, saving them from having to send red envelopes every day. I feel my eyelids getting heavier, and my consciousness begins to blur. The phone slipped from the bed and fell to the floor with a thud. Just as I was about to lose consciousness, the dormitory door suddenly swung open. Rose, are you fucking trying to die? I woke up in the hospital with an 4 drip in my arm, and sitting next to me was Simon, looking thoroughly displeased. He said he noticed my part-time account had been inactive for 2 days, and when I didn't answer his calls, he came looking for me at the dorm. The medical bill is 5,000, consider it a loan from me, with daily interest. He slapped the payment slip onto my bedside table. As I stared at that enormous bill, the gratitude I had just felt was instantly replaced by a heavy sense of pressure. $5,000. How much data annotation do I have to do to pay it off? How much is the interest? I asked weakly. 1,000 per day. I breathed a sigh of relief. This was already much cheaper than a loan shark. Simon suddenly spoke up. Your parents are quite interesting. He waved my phone, the screen still showing the family group chat interface. My heart sank. He had seen the messages I sent in the group asking for help when I had a fever yesterday. He took screenshots of the entire chat history, compiled them, and sent me a copy. Keep it, it might be useful later, Rose. Relying on them is even less reliable than expecting me to show mercy, he pointed out bluntly. You don't have any mercy, I muttered. Exactly, so you should rely on yourself even more. After being discharged from the hospital, I no longer held any illusions about my parents and began treating them as strangers. I poured all my energy into studying and taking on part-time jobs. Determined to repay Simon's money as quickly as possible, he started frequently appearing by my side in the guise of a creditor, either supervising my studies or assigning me extra programming tasks. How much have you done today? He stood beside my seat in the library, looking down at my computer screen. 3,000 data entries. Too slow, he frowned. Using the automation tool I gave you, you should be able to do at least 8,000 entries a day. I'm afraid of being caught by the platform. Do you think the platform doesn't know? They turn a blind eye because they want to improve efficiency. I later found out that the tasks he gave me were all outsourced projects from the company, with very high pay. Fixing a small bug in a mini program could earn me 500 yuan. My parents were bragging in the group chat again. This time, my dad bought the latest gaming console for his stepson. And my mom enrolled his stepdaughter in an elite summer camp. For the first time, I didn't stay silent. Instead, I sent a smiling emoji. They seemed to be taken aback by my reaction and didn't speak for a long time. My dad tentatively asked, Rose, how have you been lately? I replied with 4 words. I'm doing fine. The group chat fell silent again. In less than 2 months, I paid back Simon's $5,000 and had savings for the first time. A full $8,000. This was the richest I had ever been in my life. Simon raised an eyebrow as he looked at my repayment. Not bad. So now, are you interested in playing a bigger game? What do you mean? Simon was talking about the National College Student Programming Competition, where the grand prize is 200,000 yuan. He leaned against the doorframe of the computer room, hands in his pockets. You handle the technical side, and I'll provide the computers and secure the funding. I stared at the competition details on the screen, my heart racing. Competitions like that are for top-tier experts. With my skill level, 200,000, he interrupted me. Your parents would never give that to you in their entire lives. Don't you want to see their expressions when they find out you took 200,000? This sentence struck right at my heart. Imagining their shocked faces, I nodded. I'll do it. Bold move. Simon pulled out a brand new laptop from his bag. Throw away that crappy machine of yours first. The specs are too garbage. I took the computer. Even the startup interface was still in factory settings. How much did this cost? Why are you worried about that? He waved his hand impatiently. Just focus on writing code. I opened the competition rules and felt more and more uneasy the more I read. The competing teams are all tech experts from Tsinghua and Peking University. And several of them have already won awards in the ACM international competition. Won't people laugh themselves to death at a team like ours? I muttered under my breath. Simon glanced at me. What? Scared? Not scared, just feeling a bit uncertain. Then think about it. How much can you earn from data annotation every day now? On a good day, 300 yuan. Then how many days would it take you to earn 200,000 yuan? I counted on my fingers and calculated. More than 600 days, that's right, almost 2 years. He leaned back in his chair. Now I'm giving you a chance to get it done in just 3 months. Not going to give it a try. I stared at the striking 200000 on the screen and swallowed hard. 2 years worth of income, achievable in just 3 months. The temptation was truly overwhelming, and Simon suddenly lowered his voice. Aren't you curious? What would their reaction be if those two found out you took 200,000? An image flashed through my mind of my parents sending red envelopes in the group chat every day, with notes like, too slow, you missed out, for just 15 bucks. If one day, I told them I earned 200,000, damn it, let's do it. I slammed the table. That's more like it. Simon's lips curled into a smile. But let me be clear up front. During training, you have to listen to me. What do you mean? Your current programming skills are, at best, those of a junior coder. If you want to win the grand prize, you need a complete transformation. He tapped the table. Starting tomorrow, you'll get up at 6 every morning to write code, and you won't be able to sleep until midnight. All 3 meals will be in the computer lab. No going back to the dorm. I gasped. That harsh. How else can we win? Simon spread his hands. Of course, you could also choose to keep doing your data labeling, earning 300 bucks a day, being treated like a beggar by your parents. This comment made my face flush with heat. Indeed, in my parents' eyes right now, I'm just a beggar. All right, I'll listen to you. I took a deep breath. But what if I don't win the prize? That means you're a failure for life. Just accept your fate. Simon was merciless. I was stunned by his words, then laughed. You really know how to comfort someone. If comfort was enough, what would be the point of having skills? He stood up. See you at the computer room tomorrow at 6, 1 minute late. And the cooperation is off. Watching his retreating figure, I suddenly felt as if I were standing on the edge of a cliff, either leap across or be shattered to pieces. But then again, there's nothing left to lose anyway. Life is already bad enough as it is. We began our hellish preparation for the competition, practically living and eating in the school's computer lab. We only slept for 4 hours a day. Spending the rest of the time coding, Simon bought a case of Red Bull and instant coffee. Stacking it on the table, energy boosters, help yourselves. How much does this cost? I felt a bit heartbroken. Why do you care about that? He shot me a glare. Keep talking and I'll dock your bonus. During our collaboration, I realized that although Simon was sharp-tongued, he was meticulous in his logic and had a unique perspective. He always offered crucial advice when I was stuck and would force me to rest when I stayed up too late. One time I was debugging an algorithm until 3 a.m. My eyelids were heavy with sleep. Go to sleep, he said, closing my laptop directly. I haven't finished debugging yet. You'll be able to finish it in 10 minutes with a clear mind tomorrow. He tossed me a pillow. Code written while staying up late is all garbage. The more we got to know each other, the more we discovered the loneliness in each other's hearts. He was also neglected by his family, outwardly successful, but inwardly starved for love. Late one night, he suddenly asked, "What do you think is something that money can't buy?" "Many things," I replied without looking up, typing away at the code. For example, genuine care. I paused, just like what you're doing right now. He froze for a moment, the tips of his ears turning slightly red. Who cares about you? I just don't want a teammate to drop dead. My parents noticed I hadn't spoken in the group chat for a long time and started reaching out to me. I immediately turned on Do Not Disturb, our program, like a dark horse. took first place in the division and successfully advanced to the finals. The day after the news got out, my phone was practically ringing off the hook. School administrators, investment company managers, and even some aunts and uncles I had never heard of started calling me. What's even more absurd is that my parents somehow caught wind of it too. Rose, the competition must be exhausting, right? Let Dad send you some money to help you recover. My dad's voice came through the phone, so gentle, I almost laughed out loud. Was this the same person who argued with my mom for 3 hours over a few dozen yuan for a registration fee? No need, I replied flatly, about to hang up. Hey, hey, hey. Don't hang up, Dad knows it's not easy for you out there. How about this? I'll transfer 5,000 to you, just use it for now. Really, no need. I hung up directly and blocked their number. Seeing me turn off my phone, Simon raised an eyebrow. Your parents, yeah, suddenly they're concerned about me. I tossed my phone aside, probably heard I'm about to strike it rich. TSK, their sense of smell is quite sharp, Simon sneered. But that's fine, saves them from causing trouble later. The night before the finals, I received an anonymous email containing the core code of our final project. I stared at the code on the screen, my hands beginning to tremble. This was the result of 3 months of day and night effort. I could recite every line of code from memory. The leak of the core code meant that months of hard work could go up in smoke. Simon, I called out. He walked over and took a look, his face instantly darkening. What's going on? Someone sent me our core code. I pointed at the email. Simon was calmer than me. He immediately started checking the code, looking for backdoors. This IP address belongs to your mom's company, he said, looking up with a cold expression. I thought of my mom, who works in administration at a tech company. Although she doesn't understand technology, she does have access to such information, especially when we submitted our competition entry. All materials went through various review processes. No way, she couldn't have. I shook my head. She's not even proficient with computers. Then ask her. Simon handed me the phone. I called my mom and directly confronted her, asking if she had leaked my competition entry. Rose, are you crazy? I don't even know what you're competing in. How could I have leaked it? Her voice was filled with anger. You ungrateful child. How dare you suspect your own mother? Then how do you explain this IP address? What IP? I don't understand. Rose, have you grown too bold? How dare you speak to your mother like this? I wanted to press further, but she hung up directly. Simon sneered. Don't ask. They won't admit it even if you do. I have a way. What's the solution? You'll find out tomorrow. He turned and walked toward the computer. For now, let's prepare a special gift. On the day of the finals, we used the backup plan, an upgraded version of the program that we had intentionally left with vulnerabilities, as expected. Our biggest competitor showcased a core logic almost identical to ours, even optimizing the vulnerabilities we had deliberately left behind. I sat in the audience, watching the team on stage present our hard work, feeling a mix of emotions. Are you ready? Simon whispered in my ear. I nodded. During the QA session, in front of all the judges and investors, we remotely activated the Easter egg we had left in the code. The opposing team's entire demo system instantly crashed, leaving only one line of text on the screen. How does it feel to be a thief? The entire audience erupted in an uproar. The faces of the opposing team members instantly turned pale, and they stood on the stage at a loss. Someone from the judges' panel stood up directly and asked, "What is going on?" "It's simple," Simon said as he walked onto the stage. "Their core code was stolen from ours, and they even optimized the vulnerabilities we intentionally left behind." There was a buzz of discussion in the audience. The captain of the opposing team turned pale and, under pressure, finally admitted that the code had been purchased from an anonymous source. We presented our genuine work and won the grand prize by an overwhelming margin, along with a cash award of 200,000. As soon as the competition ended, my mom called, her voice filled with fear. "Rose, don't make a big deal out of this. Mom could get fired from the company, now you're scared." I sneered. "Mom did it for your own good, to motivate you to get good grades." Her voice trailed off. My dad also sent a text. "Rose, your mom did it for your own good, to motivate you. Out of that 200,000, shouldn't we get a share? After all, we're kind of the heroes here." I looked at this text message and couldn't help but laugh. They never forget to ask for money, no matter the situation. I posted a screenshot of the 200,000 yuan prize money receipt in the long silent group chat of 3 people, along with the text. Thank you for letting me know how dirty people's hearts can be. Is this 200,000 enough to sever all ties between us? I left the group chat. Simon walked over and handed me a document. Have you thought about how to spend the bonus? How about we start a company? I nodded in agreement. Simon and I used the bonus to register Moran Technology. With the competition's reputation and solid technical skills, the company quickly landed its first major order. A gaming company commissioned us to develop an anti-addiction system, with a contract value of 500,000. I'll handle the negotiations, you take care of the technical assessment. Simon adjusted his suit and tie. I can go too, you. Simon looked me up and down. Going to negotiate dressed like that? I looked down at my old hoodie and jeans. They were indeed a bit shabby. Forget it, I'll go instead. After the negotiation, Simon immediately dragged me to the mall. First, make yourself look like a boss. He bought me several sets of professional attire, completely renewing me from head to toe. That's more like it. Simon nodded with satisfaction. Remember, you are now the CTO of Moran Technology, not that pitiful girl scrambling for red envelopes. From then on, I was no longer that timid and submissive girl. At the negotiation table, I was calm, professional, and exuded a powerful presence. We have a unique solution for this technical challenge, I said, pointing to the architecture diagram on the PPT. The estimated development cycle is 2 months, but we can guarantee the system's stability and security. The client nodded repeatedly and signed the contract on the spot. Simon is responsible for strategy and marketing, protecting me well so I can focus on technical research and development. He would order takeout when I worked late into the night and take over negotiations directly when I was troubled by difficult clients. I moved out of the dormitory and rented a bright, small apartment near the company. It was the first time I had a space truly of my own, where I didn't have to worry about my roommate's judgment or secretly eat instant noodles. The refrigerator is filled with my favorite snacks, and the desk is equipped with the latest development devices. Every weekend, I cook myself a lavish meal and then sit by the floor-to-ceiling window, coding late into the night. However, the peaceful days didn't last long. After I blocked my parents, they started waiting for me at the school. After learning that I had moved, they found the company's address. Rose, you ungrateful wretch, now that you're making money, you don't want your parents anymore. My mother stood at the entrance of the company, shouting at the top of her lungs, that's right, we raised you all these years, and now that you've struck it rich, you're turning your back on us. My father chimed in, adding fuel to the fire. Passers-by gathered around, pointing and whispering. I stood by the floor-to-ceiling window in my office, watching the commotion below, my heart completely unmoved. Do you need me to go down and handle it? Simon walked over to me. No need. I picked up the phone. Security, there's someone causing trouble downstairs. Please take care of it. 10 minutes later, 2 security guards politely asked them to leave. I sent each of them the lawyer's letter I had prepared earlier. The content was simple. If they continue to harass, legal action will be taken. You actually prepared a lawyer's letter. Simon was somewhat surprised. Of course, I'm not a fool. I closed my laptop. Since we've torn off all pretenses, we might as well go all the way. That night, I also met Simon's father for the first time. I heard you found a girlfriend, partner, Simon corrected. Whatever the relationship is, don't let it affect the company's development. I invested in Moran Technology, not your romantic entanglements. After saying that, he left without even giving me a direct glance. I understood the loneliness beneath Simon's cold exterior. It turns out we were both children abandoned by our parents. At a celebration banquet, Simon had too much to drink. He grabbed my hand, his gaze somewhat dazed. Rose, I'm so glad you're here. If it weren't for you, I might never have known what trust truly means. You saved me too, I said, gently patting his hand. We saved each other. With the money I earned myself, I bought a 200 square meter Riverview apartment in full. The moment I got the property deed, I sat in the empty new home and cried. This house was earned with my own 2 hands. I didn't bow to anyone, and I didn't have to please anyone. However, the good times didn't last long. When my parents found out I had bought a house, they came looking for me again. Rose, Mom knows you're doing well now. My mother put on a smiling face. Look, you're so rich now. Shouldn't you show some filial respect to your parents? That's right, such a big house. It's a waste for you to live alone. My father chimed in. How about transferring the property to us? We'll help manage it for you. Or you could give us half the money, my mother added. It's only right to honor your parents. Looking at their greedy faces, I actually felt a sense of calm inside. Sure, I said with a faint smile, come to my company tomorrow, and we'll settle this account properly in front of a lawyer. The next day, in my company's conference room, there wasn't just a lawyer, I had also invited several media reporters. My parents thought I had given in and walked in cheerfully. Ready to take over the property, Rose, look at how impressive this conference room is. It's truly worthy of my daughter. My mother looked around and nodded with satisfaction. Of course, with parents like us, how could our child be anything less? My father puffed out his chest and smiled brightly at the reporters. I sat in the main seat, watching their performance with an expressionless face. Simon asked softly beside me, "Are you sure you want to do this?" "Absolutely." I pressed the remote control. I had my assistant turn on the projector. The first gift. It showed the records of every 15 yuan red envelope they sent me after their divorce, along with screenshots of me grabbing the red envelopes each day. The dense list of transaction records, each one for 15 yuan, had a note that read, exclusive for the James family bloodline, first come, first served. My mother's smile froze on her face, and my father began to clear his throat. This. My mother stammered, "Don't rush, there's more." I clicked to the next page. The second gift was the complete chat record of them arguing for 3 hours over a few dozen yuan for a registration fee. I specifically enlarged the key dialogue for display. "It's your mom's turn today. She has to pay the registration fee." "David, are you even a man? You don't want to pay child support after the divorce. It's just a fever. Isn't drinking more hot water enough?" The reporters began to whisper among themselves, and some had already taken out their voice recorders. The third gift, photos of them lavishly spending money on outings and shopping with their stepchildren, forming a stark contrast to the picture of me nibbling on expired biscuits. My father's face began to pale, and my mother's hands trembled. "Rose, where did you get these photos?" my mother asked, her voice shaking. "Forgot. You posted them yourselves in the group to show off." I sneered coldly, said it was to build father-child bonds and buy new clothes for your daughter. The fourth gift, the email from my mother's company that leaked my code, and the recording of the rival company admitting to purchasing the code. My mother collapsed into her chair, and my father tried to get up and leave but was politely stopped by security. I stood up and addressed the camera. "Where I am today, Rose, is not because of anyone, let alone my parents. I thank them for helping me see the reality early on and learn to rely on myself. Today, I am making all of this public not to seek sympathy, but to reclaim the justice that is rightfully mine. From now on, I have no further connection with these two individuals." Reporters swarmed forward, pointing their microphones at the parents who had collapsed on the ground. "Ms. Luna, why did you sell your daughter's competition work?" "Mr. David, do you think 15 yuan a day is enough for your daughter? What is your response to the accusations against your daughter?" My mother tried to cover her face, and my father attempted to push the reporters away, but the camera flashes continued to go off incessantly. Simon stood by my side the entire time, and as I finished speaking, he tightly grasped my hand. After the press conference, public opinion erupted. My father was kicked out by his face-saving in-laws, and the new stepmother directly tore off all pretenses. "David, our family doesn't raise ungrateful wolves." My mother was also fired from the company and faced charges of commercial espionage. Upon learning the truth, her new husband immediately filed for divorce. "Luna, I can't live with a woman who has no moral bottom line." Online comments overwhelmingly supported me. "This must be what they call the ultimate parents, a 15 yuan red envelope and you still have to fight for it. I'm embarrassed for you, making money by selling your daughter's code. How low can you get?" A few days later, they came to find me again, this time kneeling directly at the company entrance. My mother was crying, her face streaked with tears. "Rose, Mom knows she was wrong. Please forgive me." My father also knelt on the ground, his voice hoarse. "Dad really knows he was wrong. Just think of me as a beast, and give me a chance to make amends." Passers-by were taking photos, and someone recognized them. "Aren't they that notorious couple from the internet?" I stood by the office window, watching the commotion downstairs, feeling completely unfazed. I picked up the phone and said calmly, "Hello, security, please clear the trash at the entrance." After driving my parents away, my world finally became peaceful. Under Simon's leadership, the company successfully went public, and we became a legendary couple known throughout the industry. Every morning, I habitually glance at my phone, but I no longer receive that red envelope labeled exclusive for the James family bloodline. This sense of relief made me laugh out loud. "What's so funny?" Simon walked over with a cup of coffee. Nothing, just thinking about the days when I used to snatch red envelopes. Those days will never come again. He sat beside me. But come to think of it, your speed at grabbing red envelopes back then was even faster than your coding speed now. I patted him and said, you're still bringing that up. If you hadn't forced me to train, would I be where I am today? I established the Moran Education Assistance Fund, specifically to support students who, like I once was, are struggling in difficult circumstances. The thank you letters from the first batch of sponsored students piled up on my desk, each one reminding me of the version of myself who drank hot water in the library. At the foundation's first award ceremony, a girl stepped onto the stage, her voice trembling slightly. Mr. James, thank you. Without this money, I might have already dropped out of school. Looking at her slender figure, my eyes grew a little moist. At the company's IPO celebration banquet, Simon knelt on one knee in front of everyone and proposed to me, Rose, I couldn't be part of your past, but I want to be with you for the rest of your future. I looked at the diamond ring in his hand and remembered how arrogant he was when we first met. Are you sure? I hold grudges. You know, if you make me angry in the future, I'll throw you out. Then you'll have to catch me first. He winked. The room erupted in good-natured laughter and applause. I smiled as I put on the ring, knowing I had found the one to stand by my side and see the world with. I later heard that they ended up in a bitter dispute over debt, tearing into each other until they parted on bad terms, living out their later years in misery. My dad accused my mom of causing him to lose his new family, and my mom scolded my dad for ever giving birth to an ungrateful child like me. The two went from being a couple to enemies, and then from enemies to strangers. When I heard the news, I was making dinner. My phone rang. It was an old classmate calling to gossip. Rose, have you heard? Your parents now. I'm not interested. I hung up the phone directly. Simon hugged me from behind. Whose call was that? Someone unimportant. I continued chopping vegetables. What do you want to eat today? I'll love whatever you make. I no longer have any feelings about their news. They are just a page in my life that has already been turned. Now, I have a lover, a career, and a home.